Àpàdé lẹ́sẹ̀ Jésù, ibi tí a ò ní yára wa, a ríra wa, ayọ̀ mọ́ra wa, Jésù ló ṣe alága wa. Àpàdé lẹ́sẹ̀ Jésù, níbi tí a ò ní yára wa, a ríra wa, ayọ̀ mọ́ra wa, Jésù yóò ṣe alága wa. 23rd of March 1987. I was barely 5 years, and I see the picture of the funeral, and I saw myself with a bottle of Fanta, and my younger brother was less than 2. Then my elder sister, who is her mom, had to back my younger brother. That day, my mother passed on. Rather, it was on her funeral. I didn't know her. The only memory of her I have, it's a sign of the cross. I can remember in St. Gerard Hospital, on her sick bed or so, I was asked to do the sign of the cross, and I did the sign of the cross on her. You know, but I was told of her generosity, her philanthropical disposition. She didn't have so much, but all she had, she gave it out. She was very generous. She was a good woman. She was a good woman, and she died very prematurely. She died very young, and it was a shocker to my dad. It was a big shocker. It was traumatic to him. I was actually very little, but of course, I could imagine what he went through, and he didn't remarry. He stayed with his children, 8 children. He had no reason to remarry. Not to say remarry is a sin, of course, you can remarry, but he just felt having 8 children, he need not to remarry, because what if he remarries and he falls into the hands of a strange woman who would mortgage the life of his 8 children? It will be suicidal. So he stayed with us. He doubled as a father and as a mother, and he gave us everything in life. I want to say everything in life. Yeah, my elderly want to tell me, as a child, I kept changing private school, and each time I tell my dad I was tired of his school, he asked of my reasons. You know, he would just move me to another school, and I kept changing school. He did everything he could do to give us a good life. As a child, I remember he would hold me and Yinka, the last born. I'm second to the last born of 8 children, 4 ladies and 4 guys. He would hold my hands and Yinka's hands, and every day taking us to early morning mass in St. Joseph Catholic Church in Kaduna. You know, and when we are approaching Amodibelo way, in between First Baptist Church and St. Joseph, there's this long street, and you have beggars all over. And my father would just remove coins then, you know, coins. He'll give us coins, and he'll tell us to give the beggars, and we'll give beggars, you know. He taught us generosity. Every day we'll give beggars money. He taught us how to love God as a very tender age, you know. We go to church with him, and I can remember Olu was this insane guy, insane man, fully grown insane man, which we call madman, you know. My dad was his caregiver, was always giving him care. Naturally, people stay away from mad, you know, people who are insane. My dad would draw him close, give him food, help him change his clothes, give him food, money, give him breakfast, give him lunch, give him dinner, help him change his clothes. My father was just there. He taught us transparency, taught us punctuality, taught us good virtues. He molded us. He was an angel. He was the Jesus we first knew before we even gave our life to Christ. He was just all for us. He was all for us. He did everything. He sacrificed his life for us. Sacrifice. I mean, before 16:00 hours, Sunday, 21st of August, 2023, my father has passed on 1,000,000 times. That was the day he actually passed on physically. That was the day he passed on. But before that day, he has died 1,000,000 times by sacrificing all for us, all for us. I remember as a teenager, there was this day NEPA staff, we used to call, they are now PHC, and this used to be called NEPA. They were going around in Kaduna for a major disconnection, and they had their task force going with them for disconnection. And they came around our house, and one of my elder brothers had a confrontation with the NEPA staff, and the police guys around in the task force arrested my brother. My brother was taken to CID, Crime Investigation Department in Kaduna, their headquarters, around Ibrahim Tawo Road, yes, close to State Library. He was taken there and he was on detention. My father was not around. When my dad came back and he got the notice, he went straight to the CID office and he told them, "Make una release my pikin, release my boy for me." They said no. He had breached the law. He confronted our staff. He said, "Release the boy." They released him. My father took his place. My father was behind the bar. Maybe for 1-2 days, I can't remember. He was behind the bar for no reason. He didn't fight NEPA staff. But he took over the fights and exchanged for my brother. So he died 1,000,000 times before he died 16:00 hours, August 27, 2023. He gave all for us. He was part of our lives. He taught us how to cook. He taught us how to wash. He taught us everything. I remember when I was in the University of Ilorin 20-something years ago now, about 20 years ago now. I left school in 2005. I will come home and my father will engage me. I did linguistics. He will engage me. He will engage me in grammar. He will still look at what I write. I will still say, "John Paul, you're writing." He was everything to us. He was part of our life. He was our best friend. He was everything. And he was not really sick. The Saturday before he passed on, we talked, we spoke, and he spoke to so many of his children. He wasn't really sick, so we weren't prepared for this that we're doing today. But God knows best. We are still grieving. We are still sorrowing. It was the biggest shocker of our lives. Our lives as 8 children, you know. My elderly sibling went through this 1987. But for me, my younger brother, immediate senior, are going through this for the first time because we are fully grown old and it's difficult to comprehend. I still pick my phone and I see myself dialing his number. And when I dial his number, it's not dawned on me that he has gone. I'll just feel bad. So, but we take solace and comfort in the Holy Spirit. That one day, on the resurrection morning, we will meet with him and part no more. I will see my mother, Florence Irewole Obaribirin, Nimedaidu. I will see her again. I will see my father again. Do you know there is another fellowship in heaven? I know there is another fellowship in heaven. Do you know there is another fellowship in heaven? I know there is another fellowship in heaven. In that fellowship in heaven again, I will see him. My father is the greatest dad in the world. I make bold to say, you don't have 2 of his kinds in a century. You don't have, he's a rare breed, a rare gem. You find only one of his type in a century. So for this century, you cannot find his type again. In another century, if Jesus tarries, which I don't think so, you may have another one. Losing him is a colossal loss. It's irreparable. We cannot recover physically from this. Never. But with God, he will make the difference. With God, he will help us. Goodbye, my father. Goodbye, Pa Ambrose Ojo Obaribirin. Till we see in the resurrection morning.